when I get the save file crash thing, and I start.
And in our notes, it has here that in the most shocking story of the week, which I think is highly debatable, but EA has gatecrashed Take-Two's acquisition of British studio Codemasters. So
Whoa!
we
You
did
can't
say a
buy
few
this.
weeks ago, we did say a few weeks ago that that Take-Two was going to buy Codemasters, and then yeah, you saw the news during the week, didn't you, Swinny? Like just that, hey, EA is just coming in and going, all right, well, here's some more money. We'll take this off your hands.
I reckon this is the most shocking because nobody like even expected it, as opposed to things they're like Cyberpunk's been having issues for a while, so it didn't shock me at all that they pulled it. It was big news. Whereas this is like, wait, what? You know, like, and it makes so much sense. Like, if any,
does it though?
Oh, like EA. When you think about EA, they don't what other than Need for Speed. They don't really have a good hold on like driving sims, but it makes perfect sense for them to acquire Codemasters. It
I
really
thought they had
does.
some others. I thought they had some other.
Well, like what? You can
I'm
drive vehicles in Battlefield. I don't think they really have any other dedicated racing slash.
To me, this makes much more of a fit than Take-Two, just because of like just think like F1, the F1 series, like that's already kind of those yearly modeled.
So that part of
rally series.
Yeah, I'd almost have thought that F1 was a part of their suite of games, just the style. So.
One tiny thing about F1, since we're on the topic, when they changed they included that, I don't know what that piece is called, that protective barrier on the cockpit.
I know nothing.
The
about
Halo.
F1.
The Halo. That's it. The Halo. So Swinny, they because there was quite a significant crash, probably about 5 years ago, I think it was. I forget exactly when. They included this thing called a Halo that protects, just in case, for example, a car goes flying above or they hit an object or something. It's sort of like a barrier between the helmet and the car. I'll send you a pic. And I always used to love driving F1 because I played not all the F1 games that have come out, but quite a lot of them. And a lot of games like Forza, etc. I always used the inside car view. And I try to play some of the latest F1 games, and I just couldn't because it's almost impossible to see with that thing.
But that's what they're seeing.
That's what they're seeing. I'm like, holy moly! Like, how do they? That's doubly the challenge of normal driving. You can't see shit with that stuff.
Like, just like you don't understand the concept of people watching sports, right? Last week we talked about that. I just have a hard time just understanding why anyone would why F1 even exists. It just seems like the most dangerous thing ever. I understand it's
awesome.
exciting.
Yeah, that's why it's awesome. You think that's dangerous? Go check out B group rally driving from the 80s.
I like the. Can I just say I like the statement where it goes, I don't know why anyone would watch it. It's just so dangerous and they go so fast. It's like, people.
I meant like why anyone would actually rate. Like, it just seems insane to me. It just seems like the most dangerous thing ever.
It's
but then I feel like that about what a MotoGP and stuff as well.
I was going to say,
MotoGP is more dangerous.
I feel like MotoGP and rally driving would probably be more dangerous than F1. I feel like F1 there's a bit more control in.
I don't know, Mike. I don't think as many people have died in rally. Like, definitely MotoGP, man. Like motorbike riding, a lot of people have died.
NASCAR is insane.
What you would enjoy this though, Swinny. So in a recent race, there was a race car driver, Grosjean, who was in this horrific accident. Like, it was insane. He crashed.
Why would he enjoy this?
I'm waiting for him to finish the sentence.
Yeah, let me finish.
Yeah.
And he's basically covered in fuel, fire, everything. They were able to rip him out, and he had minimal damage. It was amazing. Like, only small burns on his feet and hands, effectively, right? And 100%, apart from like the emergency staff that actually rescued him and him just being able to wake up and get out of the car, pretty much the only reason why he's alive is because of what Mike said around the Halo. And the funny thing about that is he was the number one hater and person against the Halo. He was the face of the opposition. He's like, I'm a race car driver. This is horrible. I can't see as much. It's a stupid idea. It's not going to do anything. So it's super ironic that the guy who was saved because of it was the guy who was fighting against it. And he owned up to that. He's like, you know what? I was the biggest hater of this and it saved my life.
Well, there's no denying that it'll save your life, but there's also no denying that it ruins your visibility as well. So it's balancing act, you know. Do you want to stay alive more, or do you want to?
Probably.
I just reckon they should just have them controlled like they're like drone F1 cars. Anyway.
Well, it'll get to that. It'll get to that probably.
All right. Anyway, so
Codemasters.
EA have outbid Take-Two. The acquisition is expected to take place in Q1 next year, so pretty quick. It's pretty crazy. But just like Activision, EA certainly have a massive history of microtransactions, so we'll see how much that creeps into the future.
Of course they'll creep into it, yeah.
F1 games and that.
Having said that, though, I think the recent history with EA, so Park stuff that's already out there, they've already done. They haven't changed that. But the recent history with EA and a lot of EA stuff that's coming out, they've actually almost made a real purpose to, like, not even have it in some cases, which I couldn't believe. They've released games this year that had no DLC. They still don't have DLC, some of the games that they've released. But, I don't, like...
That's because they were in the firing line.
I think so. It's amazing to say that EA...
They'll learn where the fine line is, and they'll tread it carefully.
Yeah, 100%. And it's funny to me to think that EA's reputation's improved this year, and CD Projekt Red's gone.
I know exactly. Wow, 2020 is just a weird year.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Hey, good question. How many readers? How many listeners do we have? Because I'm thinking, if we started
to talk shop on the podcast,
if we started a pay tens of thousands, great, perfect.
Tens of thousands.
If we start a Patreon to get people to donate, how much do you reckon each person on average would have to donate to outbid EA? We'll try to outbid.
I really didn't see where you're going with that. No, just on the acquisition, I think it's fine. I think, you're seeing a lot of consolidation in the industry. Yeah, looking through the video games, I didn't realize that EA didn't have a racing car suite outside of Need for Speed. So that's more of an arcadey.
One of the biggest.
No, but that's an arcade style. There's a lot of people that don't like that. They want to have.
To be fair, a lot of F1 isn't an arcade, but a lot of the other Codemasters
it's more sim,
kind of arcadey.
Yeah,
it's an interesting little line that they tread. Besides,
so it does make sense. I think it, and it's interesting that Take-Two just backed off after the bid came in. So I think they probably looked at it and said, you know what, EA is just going to outbid us if we keep pushing at this.
Probably
because it makes sense for them to acquire it. So
wait, no one jumped in like they do with every other acquisition to say, no, this gives you too much of a market share of car games and you have a monopoly on car games or some shit like that, like they do in other industries.
That's not a thing.
Well, it is a thing in other industries.
Monopoly of a genre of video game.
It's a thing in other industries where you can't have a monopoly over a particular something, a service.
But not of a genre of something.
It's still a service. It's a form of a service, isn't it? A particular service that is being rendered, and this particular service is racing simulations.
But then you could just say that they could argue Mario Kart is a racing game.
Dude, I'm half kidding. Obviously, there isn't a monopoly on this.
Tell me about Nintendo.